This is the 7th generation of Nissan Z. The heritage of this car spans over 50 years, making it one of the longest running and most iconic nameplates in automotive history. Since the original 240Z came out in 1969, we've had 6 generations to get to this point. But today, 53 years later, the new car is better than ever, but it certainly hasn't forgotten its roots. This car has come a long way to get here, but the recipe has always stayed true. 6 at the front, 3 pedals in the middle, and spinning rear wheels. It's the classic sports car formula.
The recipe has stayed the same, but the chassis is actually from the previous 370Z, but don't think that this thing hasn't evolved. The chassis has been revised and improved, and rigidity is now up by 10.8% over the previous model. So basically what that means is this is the most solid chassis ever under a Z.
The strong chassis here allows the suspension to really shine. This isn't an expensive car, but you have dual wishbone aluminum front suspension, and you have a multi-link aluminum rear setup as well. The caster has been revised, the toe has been revised, and what it results in is the most refined Z car I've ever driven.
A lot of that sharpness comes from the bitey front end. It's still a front midship engine. The chassis has actually been lengthened by 5 inches, and that allowed them to move the engine back a little bit off of those front axles, which helps with the balancing. And in addition to that, your wheels are forged aluminum, so that means that you're reducing that unsprung weight. You also have 20% more contact patch than the previous 370Z. All of that works with the first ever power electric steering system fitted in a Z. And this is, you can feel it, it's a lot more connected to the road than a drive-by wire that you would get in a Red Sport from Infiniti. All of that to say that this thing loves to turn in and get stuck in. I also think that it's worth mentioning that they actually resolved the CSC issue that the previous generation had. They actually relocated the slave cylinder, so you don't need to drop the whole transmission now to work on that or replace it.
The front end on this thing is really sharp. It's exactly what I'm looking for in a sports car, but the back is just as important, if not more. You have a true mechanical clutch-based LSD back there wrangling your torque, making full use of that 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque from this twin-turbo V6. This thing feels keyed up, it feels quick. You've got 1600 RPM where you're making peak torque, and that peak torque number carries all the way up to 5200 RPM. And then it's just a short run of 1200 RPM before you hit peak horsepower. This thing is blisteringly quick, and 0 to 60 is good for 4 seconds in an automatic.
So far, this is checking all the boxes, but there's one thing that we haven't addressed yet, and that's the transmission. And thankfully, this thing comes in a manual. You can also get an automatic at 9-speed if you'd like, but I'd prefer a manual. This thing has auto revving when you downshift, which is incredible, and the shifts are really smooth as well. You can also get launch control in both the manual and the automatic, and there's also no lift shifts. And one other cool thing, the manuals come with a carbon fiber composite drive shaft as well.
Those automatic cars, sure, you get the same paddles that you would get in a GTR, which is pretty cool, but I think I would still have the manual. You get an Exity high performance clutch, and first and second gear get new synchros. All of that is to work in and handle all of the added torque that you have from this turbocharged engine. Take up on this manual transmission car is a little funny for me personally. We just got out of the GR86 and that bite point was really low. This one is a bit higher, so it's something that I've had to work around for today, but you would get used to really quickly. And ultimately, it's a nice gearbox because the throws are nice and notchy, especially first and second gear. I know exactly where the shifter is going. It's a great little throw there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you get an automatic or a manual, this thing is just a joy and a riot to rev out with its aluminum alloy block. But with that, let's meet up with Paulo. Okay, so from outside, aesthetically, this is like the greatest hits album. But all of the songs that make up the greatest hits album came from one other album.
Yeah.
And is the 240, which is fine because it looks great.
Yeah, I really like the look of this thing. We have the blue here, which is awesome. I think we prefer the yellow, but
yeah, I think so.
Starting up front here, you know, a big point of contention was this grille.
The big rectangle.
The big black rectangle.
Yeah.
And I think in person, we both don't mind it. Obviously, the main reason why they have this is because they have a bigger engine, turbos that they need to cool. So there is a design reason that they did that. But that's directly from the 240.
Yep.
And then some other stuff from the 240 that you get up front here. You have this nice kind of dividing crease that goes into this awesome hood bulge, which is also from the 240.
It's pretty subtle, I like it.
Yeah, it's an extremely long hood. And then another cool feature here is these headlights, your daytime running lights, are kind of creating this like sphere almost, this circle, and that's also to pay homage to the 240.
Yeah, no, I think the front end looks really good. Around the side, you've got, of course, your 19-inch forged aluminum wheels from Rays, so that's going to bring your unsprung weight down. You'll feel that behind the wheel, a little bit sharper front end. Bridgestone Potenza S007s, they're decent. Maybe a Michelin Pilot Sport like you would get on a Supra would kind of, I think that would really, you know, make them
I think
really,
we prefer that.
But from the side, I mean, that body line just really sharp, really crisp, all the way down here, terminating in this rear hip. But then you've got the very 240 placement of the Z badge itself.
Love that.
On the C-pillar, which is cool. All of the Zs that we've had here have had the black floating roof, so you have this like chrome samurai sword to kind of give you a little bit of contrast.
Yeah.
The only thing that's not 240, at least from the side, is the door handle, which is like 350 or 370. But yeah, the rear hip back here looks really good.
Yeah, I think the rear hip, like you can really tell from the rear angle of it. And then some more 240 here. You kind of have this, the spoiler that is also from the 240, the original 240. And then my favorite Z is the 300 ZX, and these headlights are kind of like a 3D interpretation. Taillights are like a 3D interpretation of what was on that car as well, which is really cool. Yeah. You got dual exhaust. That's from the 350 and the 370Z. No crackle and pops, but we're sophisticated now.
we're too grown for that.
You also have the black diffuser down here.
Yeah, no, I think objectively, and let me know what you think, but there's not a bad angle on this car. I love the way it looks.
Yeah, every angle is great. I agree with you. They did a really good job.
Yeah, let's look at the inside then.
Let's do it.
Okay, so yeah, on the interior here, this is where they needed to spend a lot of time rethinking because of the 370. That was kind of the weak point, and they've addressed it really, really well in here. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree completely. I think there's definitely some elements from previous generations in here, but like I think where they needed to step up, they really did, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about like the overall sizing and stuff? Like we are 6'1".
Yeah, 6'2". Yeah, so that was a concern for.
Well.
That was a concern with like some of the previous generations, right? And then this new model coming out, and I think that there is a really good amount of space in here, a lot of headroom.
I could wear a helmet in here for a race.
A lot of knee room as well. I think you think the seats pinch you a little bit, but obviously it's going to do that. It's supposed to hug you.
Yeah, I mean it's a sports car, you know, and that's where the bolstering and the seats come in. The back is actually not bad. It's the lower section, which gets my thighs a little bit. But of course, it's what it's supposed to do. You do have power controls for, sliding forward and backward, and also reclining. But you've got manual knobs on the side, which again are
for control the height of
370. But yeah, it controls your thigh support and also your lumbar.
Right.
It's not bad. It's really not bad.
Yeah, and then I just want to quickly touch on the color here. We have the black interior with this like suede accent. Super cool. Yeah. I love it. I kind of like understatement. So
yeah, it's in the door cards, on the seat too.
There are a few other colors. There's blue, which is it's a very loud blue. I think that would get.
And especially because the blue that we've seen has been with the blue paint.
Yeah, it was blue on blue. So.
But I also don't think I would.
And Do It in Blue was in
interior.
It, so that was cool.
Yeah.
There's also red, and it's kind of like it's a little bit of a quieter red than the Type R. So I think we both kind of prefer this Nissan red. And then with the launch edition, you get a really cool
Yeah, it's predominantly black.
It's black, but it's got like a ghost yellow.
Yeah, it's got the yellow stitching and then, yeah, like a gradient. Like,
Yeah.
exactly. It's really cool. Yeah, and you mentioned the suede on the door, which I think is really, really nice. It's that little attention to detail, but then you've got this very 370 door pull, the loop. And I mean, I think it's funny. I think it's kind of cool. You also have this air vent in the door.
Yeah, I love that.
So it frees up the dash to give you the bigger screen and all that stuff.
That looks really good. And then in the front here, you have a 12-inch digital cluster, and I think it honestly provides you with everything that you would want to see on here.
Yeah.
There's some different like views you can do, which is cool. And then in the middle here, you have a 9-inch head unit. The 8-inch is for the base. And my only real gripe with this is just like the UI. I don't love Nissan's user interface.
Yeah.
You have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Wi-Fi also enabled, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, you get some good modern stuff. You know, jumping back from the instrument cluster, you've got this, of course, steering wheel, which is, I think they said, from an R32 GTR.
Yeah, some of the sizing of it, and then it's also got these like notches on the back for your fingers.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it's from the R32, but it's designed with that in mind.
Correct.
The only thing that I don't like about it is that all of your controls on the steering wheel are piano black.
Yeah, you don't.
And we've been
like
in this for
black.
an hour, and it's already smudgy. So I mean, that's not great. The controls, the stalks behind it are from like an 06 Ultima. So it's like there are little elements of cost cutting here or there, but ultimately, like, you know, whatever. It looks good. It looks good. But then you do have your three, you know, classic pods up here on your dash. You've got your boost pressure, your turbine speed, and also your battery voltage, which is just, it's fun, especially when you get on it.
Yeah, I like how they have the PSI up there, which is really cool. You have USB-C and, you know, your traditional USB. We are in the manual transmission, but you can obviously get this in an automatic. You have rev matching, which is super cool. It's
good.
Flawless. It feels really good in here.
Really well.
You also have launch control in both the automatic and the manual, which is awesome.
Very
There's also no lift shift, which is also cool.
Yeah.
And you also have heated seats.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. This is a sports car, right? So it's meant to be driven, but you do have a good amount of actually modern technology. You've got the blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise, and that sort of thing. The only thing that it really doesn't have is that like lane centering, so it won't drive for you.
Right.
Again, this is a driver's car, so like it shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall they did a really good job in here. I think there's still some pieces that were carried over, and you know, that's to cost save and things like that. But I think the parts that they really needed to focus on in here, they did a good job.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's elements of cost saving here and there, but it doesn't distract from the experience at all.
Oh, and then I think quickly we should just touch on storage. Like, there's a decent amount. Well, you have a cup holder here at least, and this kind of like slides back. And then is there a cup holder in your door? There's one on my door.
Yeah, it's small. You're not really gonna fit much in there.
You're not gonna fit a lot in there. There's like these two compartment areas in the back, right behind the seats, which are actually pretty spacious.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's good. I mean, it's decent space. The trunk opening is nice and wide. It's not a super deep floor, so you're not going to fit a huge amount in it, but it's very usable.
9.6 cubic feet in the back.
It's not bad. Yeah,
no,
it's not bad. So with that, final thoughts?
Yeah.
All right. So the new Nissan Z. The base car starts at $40,000, and you don't get the big brakes or the LSD, but you get the power. And after all, this is a tuner's car, so a lot of these things you're going to end up changing out yourself. So to save $10,000 over something like a comparable Supra is a huge deal. It's a fabulous car. So thanks to Wendy, Dan, Paul, Allison, and the entire Nissan team for having us out. The great thing about this trip is that the day after we got done driving the Z, we came home to a Supra in our driveway. So if you'd like to better understand how these two stack up, we will have a standalone Supra review and an in-depth head-to-head on the channel later today. So subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks again for watching.